Good evening and welcome to the November 25th Proctor Select Board meeting. If you'd all please join for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The first order of business is to review and approve the agenda. A motion would be in order.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Motion would be in order for the November 12th, 2024 Select Board meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? Albert?
On page 2,
Yep.
underneath the salt quotes,
Yep.
the first sentence, the fourth word from the end of that sentence, should that be pleased, or pleased with their product?
Oh, yeah.
No, we're gonna lease salt this year.
I was thinking that would be
With
like,
their product. Sometimes the fingers are faster than the brain.
and then just one other one.
Sure.
It's on the fourth page, the second sentence. Should that
I
first
only
word?
have 3 pages.
3 page.
Okay, third page, second sentence, should that be and, presume?
Resume.
I should say and take out enter.
Oh, and enter.
And-
Oh, I see.
And enter,
And enter and resume.
and enter the remainder, or enter the regular. What should it say? What does the other one say? What does it say?
And resume. I would think just enter,
Okay,
exit the board of
excellent.
sewer.
And resume,
The select
yeah,
board meeting.
and so enter, the should be out. Okay. Okay. All right, all those in favor with those changes or corrections?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Open public comment. Did you want to address the board? Do you have something to speak to
There's a water situation on Curry Street.
on Curry Street? Okay.
I've been to the garage a couple, 3 times, and the last time I was over there, one of the guys told me they'd been up and dug a hole. There's no pipes down there. Well, I know there's pipes down there because we put them in 50 years ago. Anyways, they tell me that as it settles in the street, they just keep putting cement or tire in it, fill it up. That's not helping anything. And you can ask Tom Doty and the neighbor at the end of the street, as dry as it's been this summer, I have springs all over my property, they're all dry. But the guy on the end of my street has water running in his cellar, and Tom has worked all summer, water running down through his back of his lawn. And I think it's all coming from that hole in the sewer. And
Wait, so is it a
Years ago-
water issue or a sewer issue?
I'd say it's sewer, because you've got 20 people on that street, showering, laundry, doing dishes, everything else. There's a lot of water going down through
Does
there.
it smell sewer-ish? Does it smell like the sewer?
Well, no, it's like just like down to the sewage plant. Once it's run through enough stuff, it doesn't smell. Well, that's the same thing when this runs through all this dirt. You got water coming through.
The water in our yard, though, has been there a lot longer than just recently.
Well, I know, but this has been going on for quite a few years, and I've been over there back and forth. Back when John Drasik, this happened years ago, and he got somebody over there and they dug across the street and fixed it. And you can see where they dug. And now, years later, it's starting the same thing. This hole keeps sinking because every time...
What did they fix?
Pardon me?
What did they fix? What did he dig up and fix?
I think it was a sewer.
I don't think they could run a snake, I mean, they wouldn't know where the sewer lines are, they could
Yeah.
run a snake up there and, film it.
Yeah. I mean, if people are getting water in their house, that's not a sewer issue. It's a
That-
water main leak.
My neighbor, or the guy on the end of the street, he's small grade from where this hole keeps sinking, and he's getting water in his cellar. And he seems to think it's a spring by his garage. Well, that's where I think the broken pipe is.
Could just be the spring too, not a pipe.
Like I say, I have a lot of springs in my property, and every one of them been dry all summer.
What's the house number that you're talking about?
I'm not sure what it is, you know.
Who is it?
Whose house?
Pardon me?
Whose house is it?
The one right on the end of the street, just up from you.
Oh, Eric?
I'm not sure what his name is.
Our next door neighbor?
No, the end of the street. The
The
end.
first house on Curry
He's the
Street.
end of the street.
Right, but next to him, not the front end, the back end. Not your neighbor, the
You
one,
head up Curry Street.
what's her
Right.
name?
The first house on the left.
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
Anita-
As you end up, as
Anita
you go
Hughes?
up Curry Street, he said the first house on the left.
Are we talking about
That's
Hughes's?
Eric's. No, that's Eric.
So it's the first house as you turn onto Curry or the last house?
The very first house on Curry Street on the left.
That's not on Curry Street technically, because it's facing West Street.
Right.
It's Eric, he's 53 West.
Right.
Oh, the one on the corner
Right
next
next
to you?
Oh,
I don't see
okay.
how that could.
But right his garage is where they had the problem before. And you can see in the tower where they cut it and fixed it years ago. And then this thing started settling again a few years back. And I've been over to the garage and talked to them about it, and they just tell me they've dug there's no pipes. Well, I know there's pipes, because our water and sewer go up that street. You
Well,
know,
maybe he meant there was no pipes where the leak was coming out or where the water was going in.
pardon me?
Maybe he meant there was no pipe exactly where the water was settling or going into that basement.
Oh.
But I'll run it by them tomorrow.
I can't see where they dug anything. I can see where they keep putting tar in it, but I can't see where they've dug anything. Where they did it the first time, you can see where they cut the tar and worked on it.
I don't see where that wouldn't affect our yard, because that's much more, that's like our very backyard. Our issues are way in back,
It runs downhill. Water runs downhill.
but it's,
But your
It's
property in the
not-
back is wetlands, isn't it? I mean,
technically, it's not supposed to be, it was a pasture years ago.
yeah, but I mean, over time, it's just like other places when they
Well, I
have,
think there's drainage issues,
Yeah.
but that's not,
well, and it's coming off the mountain too. I mean, if there's any well, I don't know. It seems like a lot of different houses, but we'll have Judy speak with Kyle and have them go check it out, and they can camera the line to see if there's a break in it. Okay?
No.
I'll check with them tomorrow.
Yeah,
I
it's real
understand.
difficult if there's water in
but the thing
that
is
pipe.
that doesn't, I mean, if you run downhill, it's not running, our water issue is out and back on the other side of the ditch. That's not going downhill.
Well,
It's, if you look if you come up on their street and see where that hole is, it's right behind that garage, which is just about where Tommy's got the water coming down behind his house.
That's quite
Yeah,
a
there
distance
was
though
a
from the
spot-
house of Curry.
years ago, maybe 10 or 15 years ago, that they dug up there, what was the fellow on this, well, it'd be the second house on the left,
Babcock,
Babcock.
yeah,
he had issues in his house?
yeah.
John Corliss did that, I think, didn't he?
Yeah, it might have been John, yeah.
All right, well, we'll have Judy speak with Kyle and have them go up and look at it, and at the very least, they should be able, if there's a pipe there, a sewer pipe, to camera that and see if there's any, like a hole or a break or anything, so that's the best thing to do.
Dirt keeps going somewhere because it just doesn't disappear. It
Well-
keeps going down and they keep putting tire on it, well.
But the entire town's built on fill, so take a walk in the park.
I've been here 60 years, I know.
So, okay. Anything else? All right, we'll have that checked out tomorrow.
You can give me a call if you want at the end of the day or during the day tomorrow, okay?
Yep.
All right. And I wanted to thank Mary Fregosi and Albert Winter for picking up over 300 flags total off the graves after Veterans Day. So it was a huge, selfishly I will say it was a huge help to me. So we put them out before Memorial Day, and then we have to pick them up, so. And now we're tearing the flags, so it's a process. But I appreciate their help and picking them up, so. All right.
Just a reminder too, and I think we may have mentioned this last time, that the Christmas tree lighting is December 6th, Friday at 6 p.m. And they'll do, the guys are getting the tree after Thanksgiving, so it'll be up before then.
Yep. And then just a shout out to the drama students over at the high school. They had a production of The Addams Family on Friday and Saturday evening, and pretty amazing production. They do pretty, if you've never seen one of their plays or musicals, but they don't want to do a musical in the spring, I hear they want to do a play again, but they have kids from other towns, from Rutland Town, from West Rutland, I'm not sure what other schools, but it's open to anyone in our SU to come and try out and participate in, and they do quite the productions. They're quite professional.
That's awesome.
And they do a nice job, right, Albert?
Yes, I agree with you. I was surprised that you could do that type of a format musical for Addams Family.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Yeah. We don't have a movie theater around, so it's nice to be able to have that live option. So
I know.
they'll be doing another one in the spring, so you'll have an opportunity then to take it. All right, the bills are circulating for signatures, and I have the ordinance for the grounds maintenance, so I will circulate that signature page for everyone, and then it will be warned. So if everybody could sign that, that would be great. CEDAR was here at the last meeting, and so one of their asks were to be included in the budget, so just need some directions. We can give it to Judy as she builds the budget. I think their ask is $16.40, is that right?
Yeah, they base it on population, $1 per person.
Yeah, so I don't think they've changed it since they first started, so, what's the pleasure of the board in participating and including it in the budget?
Well, we had asked for some kind of report.
Yeah,
Have they given any feedback?
She did, she emailed me, data, I should have added it in there, I don't think I did.
no.
It was
no.
after I did the,
Packet.
yeah, but, she did say there were 2 families that moved into Proctor that were part of, that had contacted them and dealt through them and stuff, so. But it's more like the initiative, she said, like around this area too, where it's building up and hopefully helping us. Not only bringing people here, but bringing us to Rutland and having more there, if there's more going on.
Yeah. I guess I just wish they had better communication with us. I mean, it's a little disappointing to me that one time they had the scavenger hunt, and when they came, they said, oh, we sent people to the Marble Museum, and the Marble Museum's closed.
Right.
And now they send them to Wilson Castle, which to me is really not even bringing them into Proctor. I mean, you're a spit over Rutland, Rutland Town. I just think that if you're trying to highlight a community and sell all the work that we have done, particularly with outdoor recreation, or just even with our with the bridge, to me, that would be the place you would send people, right? To the bridge. That just seems like, because then you're at the bridge, once you're at the bridge, you're at the falls, and you're already kind of in here and you want to, you could go to other places or look to other things, but to me, that's been a constant disappointment. I'm not saying that's not a reason to support them, but I feel like when they come here, it's the same conversation every year because they do things like that. And while this isn't related to them, I went on Rutland Regional site and, I guess it's disappointing to me when people don't like spell check and have appropriate information about communities that you're taking money from and representing. And so those are things that I find slightly infuriating about these agencies that constantly come with their hand out, but then there's no kind of checks or check in from them until they come again for money, my opinion.
I'd appreciate if they came to us for our feedback, for our opinion on what we would like to see.
Yeah.
Like you said, like the bridge. I mean, that nobody approached anybody.
Well, even if you just contacted the town manager,
Right,
I would be happy with that. I mean,
Yeah.
she is our liaison to the world, so to speak.
Right.
But to me, I feel like they tried to bring them to, I don't know, like they're promoting businesses or something like that. But the essence of their organization is to promote community. Mm-hmm. And for us, I don't feel like that's ever happened. I mean, we never see them unless they're here saying 1640 again next year.
I just want to echo what you said, Lisa, because I agree with you, the lack of communication. I think there's a breakdown. I think they should reach out to us and ask us, how do you want Proctor promoted?
Exactly.
Right.
And give us the opportunity. Contact the town manager. If we bring a concierge into your town, what would you like them to see? Well, that information should come from the town. They should make that determination.
Right, and if they're bringing someone to our town, I think it's not unreasonable to think that a call is made to the town manager and say, the Joneses are going to be here from Nevada and want to look at the Proctor community. I mean, we can set up so they could be at a school if that's appropriate, or, different entities that we have that maybe aren't open during a particular time of the year. But I don't know, I just don't feel like that happens, so.
We could be on the push end too, in that we could touch base with them and say, this is what we would like.
Well,
Well, I would rather not.
I feel like when they came before and I said, there's nothing on your website about us, they said, then write it for us. Which is kind of like, wait a second. And so I did. And so everything on their page about Proctor, I wrote and submitted to them. So.
Well, thank you.
There needs to be a little more of I don't know, them trying to cultivate a relationship, because you're telling us you're trying to cultivate these relationships with people that want to come and move here, but you're not really even trying to bring us into it. And, there are things that different people in this room could probably offer if people were here to, I don't know, I just think that we have realized in some respects that we're a bit of a bedroom community now of Rutland. We don't have a store, and those kinds of things. So the things we have to offer are amazing outdoor recreation with Beaver Pond, with the rink, the pool, the trail, the playground, all of these kinds of things. We have an historic walk that you could do of places in town that, it might be nice for them to incorporate some of that. So I think if we give them the money or put that in the budget, it should come with the caveat that if they send someone on the scavenger hunt, they have to come to the Marble Bridge.
Well, yeah, I think we should put some requests in.
Yeah, we could put something in like that, you know,
I also think it's sad that we don't have, like, we can't have like a chamber mixer here because we have nothing here. We
Well,
have
we
nothing
could
to hold it, you know.
Oh, yeah.
You
I
know,
mean-
so that, I think then we could invite them, let's have and try to
Right.
get them involved in the town. It's pretty hard when we really don't, we're limited in our resources that are for functions and events.
Well, as long as we weren't having alcohol, we could have one at the school.
Right, right.
I don't know what their events are like because we're not invited as board members.
Right. I mean, I'm invited just because I've always been part of it. And they're usually, and people just go. And once it's advertised, they just go, and they're usually at businesses, and it's usually to promote a business and build that relationship there.
Well, I'm
so.
sure if they wanted to come, I bet Frank would be more than happy to host something like that.
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
true.
So, it's not that it's beyond our capacity, it just would take a little,
Right,
Imagination.
right.
yeah.
yeah. I mean, and if it was in warmer weather, we could, have other options of where to do it, put
Right.
up a tent kind of
Yeah.
thing, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I can reach out to them just to brainstorm maybe, just say,
Yeah,
what we're looking for in terms of the relationship.
I was just gonna say, Judy, if you do reach out to them, ask them to view this portion of, this meeting, because there's some very good discussion, and this is information that should get back to them.
Right, right, yeah.
so is it the consensus of the board to have Judy include this in the budget as it has been done?
Yeah,
But-
but if they don't show
Yeah,
more
but with
interest in
kind of like a
this,
stipulation,
well,
Well, I would just say we're going to be including it, but we certainly hope that, next year when you come.
Yes.
Yeah,
And there's been a scavenger hunt, they've been directed to the
Right.
Marble Bridge, or Beaver Pond, or something like that, someplace that brings you a little deeper into Proctor,
right, yeah.
so. All right. Fire station.
So they started doing the grouting on the 20th of November. They're still doing it. They're hoping to finish this week. They've run into, the scan helps, but there's some very, very large voids in the floor. So the first, they did 20 cores samples, or pulled 20 cores out. The first one they filled took, a full pallet of grout.
And so how much is that?
About, I think today I reached out to him and he said, they did 2 more holes and that they both were 30 cubic feet. So the cubic foot's a foot,
Yeah.
square foot, so 30 of those. And so I said, are the
So it's
voids?
that 30 cubic feet down?
No, it's actually, I asked him if it was deep and he said, no, it's vast, it's wide.
Oh.
So it's not like they're going down, to fill
Yeah.
it. It's going down and they realize the voids are much wider.
It's all settling, yeah.
Well, the people that did the scanning, the radar scanning, said that the under slab air gap was larger than what they typically see.
Yep.
Just remember,
Yeah.
that floor is 30 feet by 50 feet, that's 1,500 square feet. If you've got a 1-inch gap underneath that, that takes 125 cubic feet of
Right.
volume to fill that 1-inch gap. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a big surface area,
Yeah.
so. That's 125 bags.
I know.
'Cause I believe they're 1 cubic foot, the 94-pound bags.
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, because they had to go get more the first day they were there.
Yeah.
yeah. They put in over 8,000 pounds of grout, 90 bags in one area. And they're 94-pound bags.
Well, that could be because.
And they're doing it under
before-
pressure
If it's
and water.
spreading.
Yeah. My hope is that by doing that, it's actually covering a good territory underneath the floor
Or-
and that they're really grouting almost the entire underneath.
Cause you
That might make it
wonder
more
then
stable.
if it's wider rather than deeper, then is that floor just separating from the,
Well, it's floating,
Yeah.
there's that air gap and
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
evidently.
That's why it's too bad we don't have the funds to be able to scan it again, because you're just constantly living
You
in
just say
the
that scan,
unknown.
but the ones that were on the table for the last.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I
On
mean,
the back half,
once
there's
the-
nothing below
Yeah.
a foot, for voids.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
back half seemed to be pretty solid, it was all in the front half. And like you said in the past, when you look at the position of these buildings to the street, and you look at the station, well, that's probably why the front of the station and where the apron
the town hall was
the
closer
issue.
to the sidewalk,
It
in a
was closer to the
sense.
sidewalk.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's where the problem is.
yeah.
So I'm gonna go meet with them tomorrow over there, and then, hopefully they're done by Thanksgiving, and if they are finished, then the trucks could be moved in after Thanksgiving, so.
But they moved their trailer out, right? The trailer looked like it was gone. The only thing that's left there is the pallets.
Yeah, that's all that was there when we came through.
Oh, the trailer was there when well,
No, there wasn't
the big
much
trailer?
there, just a
Yes, that
little
one that had-
miscellaneous.
I think they move it to go get more pallet, to
Yeah,
go
there's
get more.
hardly
out.
anything over that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Shucks, I thought they were done.
No,
Trailer was gone.
there was a lot of water there.
Yeah, and they started late today, because they said the hoses were frozen with water, so they had to wait till they thawed.
Oh, really? So they would move the trucks in when, like Monday after Thanksgiving or something?
Depends, like if they finish Wednesday, definitely they could move them in by Monday. Because it only takes like 48 hours.
I know the fire department, they'll want to move them in on Saturday.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, they might have to wait.
Okay, well, at least it's
Yeah.
going forward, right?
Yep, exactly.
All right, our motion would be in order to move into the Board of Water Commissioners.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Uh,
All right, Judy?
So I mailed out 125 notices of lead dangers for those who did not respond or they did not have an answer recorded for. I wasn't aware we had to do that. It had to be done to every single household, so I had to extract the spreadsheet that they sent and take all the unknowns and then mail them out to each party. So I think several people, well, I probably had about, I'm guessing 7 calls or visits from people saying that they had, most just questioned why they got it, and they got concerned. Do we have lead? And I said, no. I said, some weren't notified, didn't notify the state, some didn't answer the door, some didn't take pictures. Others did actually do the report and sent it in. So I don't know if they just missed it or if there was some error in the street numbers and they had it as unknown when it was actually copper that was in their houses.
Yeah.
So, well, hey, if it's done and what have you,
So this is something that has to be up, the thing is like, I'm hoping all these people, when I send out 120, the thing that bothers me is like, I send out 125 notices, if everyone had just done this, then we wouldn't have had to send out 125 notices.
How many of them were, can you decipher how many were rental versus homeowners?
Yeah, there were, because they said there was 117, and when I did the report and sent it, I had to do a, authorize that I sent X amount of notices, this is when I sent them.
Yeah.
And I said I had sent 125, and they said that's inaccurate, we only had 117. And I said, well, several are duplexes, so I said I sent both sides
Yeah.
a letter. And I think that was a lot of the problem too, of unknowns, that nobody wanted to let people in their house and,
Yeah.
didn't know what to do and stuff,
Well,
so.
I think in the beginning of this project, there was some substantial hiccup with the way people were, the number of people that were submitting, and they were still saying that they didn't receive it, people were saying they called, they sent, they didn't have any response. I mean, we were seeing that posted, pretty
Right.
regularly, so, I don't know. So, is it done and put to bed, or this
Yeah,
is?
this is a yearly, I have to update this yearly to the state.
And so how do you update that then?
I hope people call me and say, I took a picture, we have copper, or I checked my pipes, we have copper.
So once someone does that, then you're just
I update
sending
the spread,
that?
I update the spreadsheet, and then at the end of the year, I send them the updated spreadsheet. So all those unknowns become either galvanized, copper, whatever,
Yeah.
so they can keep it updated.
Well, I wonder, because when they first came and we spoke about this, we said any, residential areas we had done, we had that. And we should be able to update ourselves when Michael was here. So it doesn't seem like even that piece was done, so that was a little strange.
Yeah,
also.
I don't know. I think when they did it, I think they just took all the houses and just sent, the notices out and said everybody is
Right.
responsible for getting back, and those who didn't, then they went door to door. And then what they would assume, like lots of times if they took a street and they did like say there's 10 houses and 4 of them had copper, they'd assume they all had copper. And they would do it that way.
And so those people weren't part of the 125 notices then, or they were?
They were not. Not if they were listed as copper.
I don't know. I said it in my email to you, I'm less than impressed with this project because I responded and still received the notice.
Right.
So, and responded when we first came, and when we sat here and said they could pull information from projects that had been done, they didn't even do that. Because that was the last part of the water project up there being completed. So all those houses should have been like a boom, easy update.
Right.
So,
I agree with you on that one, because Park Street, that's when I replaced my galvanized with copper,
Yeah.
and that was that water, one of the last, next to the last project,
Yeah.
and it should
So-
be right on the file, easy to pull up.
to
because
me,
of-
I would have looked and done that before I started going house to house, but work smarter, not harder, that's my philosophy. All right, anything else?
I don't think so.
All right, a motion would be in order to move into the Board of Sewer Commissioners.
So I just got the flyer today, the draft to review, and so I sent them the codes for putting on for the mailing, and then as soon as we get them back, they could be sent out, so.
So they're just gonna go like to resident, right?
Yeah,
So when we talk about duplexes, each duplex will
Yeah.
get one, okay.
yeah.
So probably after, like on Monday they'll go out, you think? Or,
Yeah, as soon as I get them, I can mail them out. I gotta get them from them first.
from the printer?
Printer.
But
yeah.
they printed residents.
They'll print them in bulk, we have like, they're coded, so like,
So all you
in
have
one
to do is
zone,
fold them and put
they'll
them.
be all folded
Oh.
and stuff, and we just have to get them and bring them to the post office.
Oh, okay, great.
At least by maybe the early part of December, they should be.
Oh, yeah,
That-
yeah.
That week,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, hopefully, I'm not sure how long the turnaround time for printing
No,
will be, but it should
exactly,
be.
so.
And people who probably don't have water and sewer will get them too, because there's no way to pull.
Yeah, it doesn't make any difference.
So,
Everybody
yeah.
votes on the bonds.
Right, right. But their water rate won't go because they don't have water or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else for Board of Sewer Commissioners? All right, and we do or we don't have like a possible date from them about meeting, like having them come and meet or?
No, I did, because I want to make sure we had these out to people, so we
Okay.
didn't,
Before.
yeah.
So like the first meeting in December, maybe if we could have dates that we could, choose from, and do we think we're good to do it here, or that we're gonna wanna do it at a school?
For the first meeting,
Yeah, I mean, cause if we're gonna decide the first meeting in December, I'm thinking like that's gonna be like a January probably meeting, right? Cause we're not gonna have a meeting at the end of December.
right,
So we're thinking like the first.
you mean a town meeting,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. So like we could have like a board meeting, but like how you did sometimes, like at 7 o'clock, you recess the board meeting and you have a public.
I honestly don't know, from talking with people and us raising it, no one seems like they care.
Yeah, but no one's released theirs. It's
Yeah,
like a
until
lot
I
of
see the bill.
$22 a month either, so, Well, do we think then that maybe the best course of action would be just to invite them and hope that works?
You mean in person or on Zoom?
On Zoom,
Okay,
and just have the meeting that way. That way it's recorded
right.
and playing again.
I would prefer to have it the second week of December, because I want to finish the budget.
No.
First meeting.
Have it in January. I was saying the first meeting in December, just, or you're just saying just have it at a regular meeting and do it.
So I guess I'm trying to figure, I'm talking about them initially, just talking about this, not a
Okay.
town. Remember, didn't we talk about having just a select board meeting and having
Yeah,
them
we
come
did, but
to
we're kind of
explain it?
getting, yeah, but we're like, I guess if we do that at the second meeting in December, if we have them come and do that, that's okay. Cause then you're January, February,
Right,
so if you're gonna have another meeting, you're gonna have that, what, like February, if we think that there's enough questions and interest?
I mean, I guess, or we could just do one meeting, just have it a town meeting.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, do you think if we did it at the second meeting in December, just had them come Zoom and just have them talk about the project?
I'm gonna miss a lot of people, probably.
Gonna miss a lot of people?
Then if we,
Yeah,
then if we had a town meeting, you mean?
No, if we just have it on Zoom.
Right, but I mean, are you saying we should have a town meeting, like at the school or something?
Yeah, I think probably, and then there's gonna be nobody saying, well, I didn't know about it.
Well, that's why if you have it at a regular select board meeting, I'm thinking like,
Yeah.
it's already a
We can try
regular
it.
meeting.
Well, how many people are gonna actually see or hear?
Yeah.
What's going on a regular select board meeting?
Well, it's on Big TV, and we can reference that on our, pages, website and our page, that we had, you know, a public meeting, or we had a meeting about the bond vote, and so at 7 o'clock or whatever, an hour in to the meeting starts there or something. So it's just the same in December. You're gonna start meeting with basketball games, and if there happens to be a basketball game while we're having a meeting, no one's gonna care that we're having a meeting about this. I mean, maybe a few, but I mean, that could just be the first meeting. The first introduction could be them joining us on Zoom, having it, and we could put on the website that once the mailer goes out, you know, if you have questions, to please submit questions to Judy, and then we could give them to them so they could address those questions also. So.
I think, like Bruce was saying too, like a regular town meeting, you get an appropriate date to do that.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll have to speak about it at town meeting also, obviously it'll be, but,
That's a little after that's a little late.
well, I know, but I'm just saying, like, this way, I mean, it's just like with the mailer, you're starting the conversation. I don't feel like the conversation has really been started, so you get the mailer, and then we have the conversation on Zoom, and we can see kind of what the level is there.
So the information on the mailer would suggest that,
I don't think we said there was a meeting
No,
on the
we-
mailer.
you decided
Remember,
not
we
to do
decided
that.
not
that's,
to
I
do
think,
that.
where I'm confused, are they going to,
Yeah.
how are they gonna know?
Well, what, we can put it out there, we can put it in the reporter, we can put it on, just like anything else, I mean. And
Yeah,
if
we can-
it is if it happens the night of a meeting night, it'll be happening when the select board meets, so.
Could there be a page in the town report and that goes out? You know, a page like the mailer that's going out, and in there put down, check this or call this number to see when the scheduled appointment's gonna be.
Yeah, but the town
Town
report
report
will
doesn't-
go out to
That's all, you
February.
know,
February? Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
yeah,
We want to have our informational meeting in January is the sense.
yeah, I think we're gonna have to, just to say we're not hiding something, and
Well, you wanna get it out to everybody, so.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
The best way to do
And-
it, again, if it's the typical, you know, whether it's social media, or we put an article in the paper or whatever, not everybody's gonna see that, they just aren't.
Right. I mean, I think if we send a flyer, and then in December, even if it's the first part of December, and it's just you guys talking about this, and if they're on that, fine. And then we do a notice saying we're having a townwide meeting to discuss this. So they've had 2 opportunities ahead of time, and then they have a full town meeting, and they get to come to that. And Alder Tonelli could be there if we want.
In January.
Yeah. And we can put a thing in the paper, we can put it on Facebook, we can put it on the website.
Yeah, either way, I
Yeah.
think it, you know, as long as we,
So we get it out as many ways possible.
yeah.
And I think, you know, for town meeting, maybe get some pictures of the system, and
Yeah,
I'm sure there's some people that have no idea
Right.
even where it is.
all right, I know.
So when we say we're having a meeting in January, are we having the meeting here?
No, that would be a town
I would think some place, either the library or the school.
Yeah, the problem with the library is depending on the weather is the parking.
Right.
Yeah, and
So,
you get a mess of snow and that cuts down.
and the problem with the school is going to be what you pick as a date with,
Right.
because there's gonna be basketball.
Well, what about the elementary school?
They practice in both schools, but, I mean, if we get the date, we could
Yeah.
probably, it would be more likely that we could do it, or we could do it like at the library at the high school or something like that. Or in the cafeteria at the high school.
Yeah.
I mean, if we had a meeting at 7 o'clock at night, there's gotta be a night there's no games.
There probably is, but there's 3 teams that are practicing over there.
Right,
But
but,
if, I mean, we're not gonna fill up the cafeteria or the
Right,
library.
that's what I'm
so
saying, we
that would
could be in the
perfect.
cafeteria.
Yeah.
Let's see what A&E has for a date and go from there and look. The schedule is is out, so.
Yeah.
All right, all those, a motion in order to leave the Board of Sewer Commissioners and resume the regular board meeting.
So moved.
Second,
All those in favor?
aye.
All right, sheriff's report, any comments, questions about the sheriff's report?
We're in the sand pit, it probably wouldn't
Yeah.
have much of a report.
I didn't
Yeah.
understand why people went to the planning commission meeting about that, when I read the minutes.
I don't know. I have no idea.
That seems strange to me, if people were concerned that they should be coming to speak to you.
They should express any concerns or suggestions,
People who call, I don't know, the people who called me were more concerned, well, a lot of people didn't call me, they just posted things, that they were concerned more than anything. And the sheriffs were great, I mean, they were diligent, they were going up there constantly, you know, telling them to leave, they'd come back, and then, you know, finally they did move, so.
And so they haven't been there for a while, then, is my understanding,
Right.
right?
No,
I think
no. I think their report tells, you know, how
Right.
active they were.
Right, they were very active, and they kept,
Yeah.
I mean, every time I emailed them, they would email me right back, they were great, you know?
Yeah.
They'd get right back to me, so.
Yeah, I'm just, because it was part of their public comment at their meeting, so
Oh,
that seems,
maybe a concern,
I don't know.
all right.
That and the, you know, the big housing development, Beaver Pond.
Yeah,
What a wild scheme that was. Yeah.
It's like one of those townhouses up there.
waterfront property.
Yeah, there you go. All right, town manager's report?
All right, okay, I mentioned about the sheriff, so,
Yeah.
you read that. We received another payment of $42,925 for the second quarter payment for timber harvest. The next scheduled payment is January 15th. So the forester came up to meet with me last week and said that he's very impressed that they're way ahead of doing what they're supposed to be doing and hauling out the timber and stuff. So he's gonna be looking even at another lot possibly that, we could probably harvest because it's kind of overgrown and kind of thin out. But it's kind of nice to sit here, well, I
Yeah.
can't see anything out the windows, but when I'm here to see the trucks go by with 2 big loads of logs and stuff. And he said, you wouldn't even know, like you go in there and it doesn't look like it was flat cut. I mean, he said, you go in there, the woods is still there. You can't even tell that they picked and hauled so well.
Trees,
Yeah, and even some of the trees that weren't good, if they took them, he said he's got buyers so that they would fold that into the revenue, so.
Wow.
Yeah, so, and the forester's been awesome, like so on top of it and stuff. He's great, so.
Oh, great.
We had our tri-town bike path meeting the 20th, and all 3 towns came up with a route that they prefer. So they wanted all the towns to pick out what you wanted in your town to see, and when people are biking. And so I eliminated one of the options right off because it would just went along the rail corridor, and you wouldn't even enter Proctor.
So is this just the town managers doing this meeting?
Town managers, and there was 2 citizens.
Okay.
Yep, that bike a lot, and or maybe 3 of them are there. Yes, bike and hike.
Okay.
So yeah, so we mapped out all these, and now Stantec's going to take those and try to do the whole corridor, and then have an option B as just, some of the, what they're looking at doing is having like strains, because if you came down, say by Beaver Pond, and then connected to the rail, we want people coming into Proctor too, so these would be strands where you can go off into different areas in the different towns to see different things, so.
Yeah.
But it was really a very, it was a 2-hour meeting, very productive, and the routes came out pretty good, so.
So the next step will be cost.
Yeah, well, we'll have one more once we approve it, and then it'll have to be approved by people, and then I'm sure there's a lot more grant money out there for things like that than some of these other things that we need money for, so.
Right. In the one meeting I attended, like no one really seemed concerned about costs, and then no one seemed concerned about who was gonna be maintaining this as time went on.
Right,
So,
yeah. It depends on, I think, again, how they build it, if it's gonna be paved, if it's just gonna be cut, a lot of them, if they go along the rail trail and snowmobile users use it, they keep the trails really well groomed in the winter.
yeah.
So, yes.
Do people use the rail bed over there for snowmobiling?
Yeah, I think so a lot.
Do they?
Yeah, yeah.
And then okay, well, I guess when we see it, we'll see it.
So we made an offer to an applicant for a public works crew, and he's gonna begin on December 2nd. He doesn't have a CDL, but he has, he's done excavation work, plowed trucks, plowed with the small truck, not the dump truck, and, operates machinery, loaders, things like that, so.
Was that the only applicant that we had?
Yeah, I had a couple others that were interested, but then I never heard back, so, yeah. And I mean, if you go on the state site or the league site, there are numerous towns that are looking for public works people. So we're all kind of in the same boat. So the guys were happy with that. We received estimates for tree cutting, going with Trees Inc. And he's gonna get back to me. They were taking a tree down on Gorham Bridge, and then he's removing those overhanging limbs that were huge that we couldn't get down last year by the rink. So he's gonna do those first, so he's hoping to get to them, in December, before 2 weeks in December. So, I walked through the trail with the students that created the Storytime Walk, and they plan on coming into a meeting maybe in January to present to the board what they did, what the project consisted of, what the process was, what everybody's role was, and what it's going to look like in the springtime when they have the opening for the walk. And it was impressive, the trail that they made and all the work that they put into it. I mean, they rerouted a lot of things. They even like dug out sides of the hill to make it flush so it wasn't, you weren't walking like on the side, and it's great. It's really nice, so.
Where is it, Judy?
It starts behind the rink, like if you went to the rink to the left of it, you go up a trail there, and it kind of, it's a wind around, so it goes up and around, and then it loops and then comes back down, so.
So it's kind of like out behind the high school. They
Yeah.
work on it kind of on a regular basis, that outdoor classroom course that they have.
Yep. Let's see. And I just wanted to add that, I just got an email before the meeting that somebody ripped the Beaver Pond sign out of the ground and threw it in the woods. So.
The whole sign?
Yeah, the wooden one, the nice wooden one.
Oh, yeah.
So, Tom Hogan found it and brought it back to Dale, so Dale has it now, so.
Boy, that took some time.
I know, that's too bad, it's like,
Like, what was the point of that?
exactly.
I guess at
Mount
least
it
they
in
didn't.
cement
throw it
or
in the
something
pond.
so that they
I
can't
know, seriously.
rip it out. Gee.
You wanna put little spikes on things, isn't that
So
right?
Electric fence.
Alright. I wonder why everyone has signs, do not enter, do not. Okay, so, any questions for Judy? So everybody received second batch of the budget? We'll let you start, follow along.
All right, so the first one is just, general insurance, and, the property and casualty seems like it just keeps going up and up, so we don't have any cost yet from the league on anything, but I'm guessing it's gonna go up, so.
Have we had a lot of claims, or what's the?
No, it's just, I think it's just values, the property and casualty is values, and if we add more and take away things, that has a big impact on it. And the workers' comp, I don't know why it is so high, other than because we're like in a pool, the whole, rate system and how it works, and that shouldn't really impact us, because if our mod rate's really good, we should have a lower
Yeah,
workers' comp rates, so.
and it shouldn't change that much, you should carry it, right? For.
Right, yeah, as long as
Yeah.
we keep, it goes for, I think it's a 5-year rate that they do. So even if, say you had like accidents like 4 years ago, and all of a sudden you have none for the next few years, it's still gonna be up there
Yeah,
until
you
that.
still have
Right.
to carry it till it corrects itself.
So, I try to keep everything based off the actual of 2024 and, bump it up maybe just a little.
When do we find out the insurance number for sure?
Oh geez, they don't usually get it to us till like late December.
Okay, so we still have time.
Yeah.
I mean, not that it's,
They can give me one that's kind of, what their guess is. At least I
Yeah.
go off of it, so we're not way off on anything. And I think like once we go through all these budgets and we see where some are really high, some are low, then we can start reevaluating every single department and making cuts
Yeah.
where we think. I mean, there's just certain places we can't make cuts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're fixed and you have no control.
trust me,
Yeah.
we're doing a budget that's 80% personnel and.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
No fix. Everything's fixed, right?
And one thing I want to mention, we did a webinar, Celia and I today, with, on ARPA funds, and now they have all these, we have to allocate all the money that we got for the ARPA funds by December 31st of this year. And then we have to spend what we've allocated by December 31st of 2026. Because of our size, we do an annual report versus the others have to do quarterly reports. So they're saying that by allocation, it's so like, we were both so confused by the time it was done, and it's so convoluted that if you want, one of the things was you can use it for retention for salaries. So that's why I was building into the budget for highway, and actually want to revisit the other departments to bump up salaries by, not a percentage, but by a certain amount.
Right.
and use that ARPA funds for that. They're saying you can't just approve a budget and it's considered allocated. So I'm like, there's no other way to allocate, you can't allocate it until it's,
Approved.
yeah. So we gotta
But
figure
what
that
difference
out.
does that make? We're going to approve our budget in March, you don't have to allocate it till
Right.
2026.
Right, but you have to allocate it by 2024. Everything has to be allocated by the end of this year.
Well, allocated doesn't mean spent.
Allocated means, like, if we, say we had a project, we
Yeah.
have to have a contract in hand. That's what they want.
That's not what allocated means.
That's what you're saying. You're allocating it, meaning you're putting aside
Committed.
$100,000 for this project. To prove it's allocated, you have to have a contract signed with that contractor.
Who is asking for that?
This is
Federal
the
and
state
state.
treasury.
So are you now saying that we can't do that for employees?
Well, we have we're gonna meet with the league and we're all, because the way they had us do it, and then we're also meeting with our, auditors tomorrow
Oh,
to see how we can, with the funds, because what we're possibly thinking is, using all those ARPA funds for the paving project we just did. And then the money that we didn't use from the budget, we can allocate somewhere else.
but didn't we use some ARPA funds for that?
We
Yeah,
already used the ARPA funds for all of that paving.
we use some, we still have,
40,000.
yeah, we still have some.
Yeah, okay. But we allocated, I believe, last year, and it's in the figures that you have.
Right,
Sealed, yeah.
right,
Is,
yeah.
I think 7,500 for water and 7,500 for sewer.
It was actually 5 and 5, I think.
5 and 5?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was some money
Right.
there that.
But because that, it's like, we have to show that was allocated, which is easier than next year saying, well, we wanna bump everybody up.
So
You know.
how much do we have left total in ARPA?
So right now we have like, I wanna say 131,000. So if we use that to cover our costs for the paving, that was coming out of the paving budget, then we could use that budget money to, because what you could do is, if you say you allocated that money and you had some left over, they're allowing you to reallocate that money. So if we said we were using it all for the paving, and we didn't use 131,000, we can reallocate that. So it's very unclear, but that's the way they,
How much did we get in ARPA total?
474, I think. So we're gonna meet with the auditor tomorrow just to see about entries and how we can, reallocate that, or what we've done already is okay. And then we'll meet with the league, the way they had us write it up as well. So, but, I mean, because if we have extra, it'd be worth it to either put it towards more paving next year, or actually, I would like to almost get a project, like I'd like to get Newton Street on the list and say, hey, we've allocated this money just to do that one street,
Yeah.
or do we use it to try to, resolve part of the fire department's issues? So,
The tricky part is, it's not gonna show as a revenue until June, right? Because, so if we say, we take 131,000 and pay towards paving, but we wanna use that 131 for other things, let's say we wanna use it for raises.
okay,
It doesn't technically show, I mean, it shows we're carrying it, but it's technically not a revenue, right, till until we close out the books. So it's like we are reallocating funds that are setting on the balance sheet.
right.
It's a little tricky, I think.
It is, it's very confusing, and it's almost like, why,
It's-
if they
it's
gave us the
certainly
funds,
not
why
as-
can't we just use
it's
it,
not
as long as we're putting
clean
it
to do it
towards
that way, I don't think.
improvements?
But, and you can't just put, well,
Can't
that
be
would
in the general fund, so that's,
and it can't be in a reserve fund because that's not an allocation.
it is in a reserve fund, and that's what we were told to do in the first place,
Yeah.
put it in a reserve fund.
Well, that's what I'm saying though, they're saying
Yeah.
it can't just stay in a reserve fund.
Is it in a reserve fund now, or it's not in a reserve
It
fund
is.
until
Reserve
the
fund.
end of
It
the
is.
fiscal year 2025?
It's in a reserve fund, because we had to take it out of the general budget.
Yeah, so last year, that was the decision that you made to put it in the reserve fund, remember? And you used some of it towards raises
Yeah,
last year.
and it could be sit in the reserve fund as long as we've allocated it. And by them, allocating means actually having something in hand that, yeah, you have an agreement, a signed contract.
This is like your back pain.
Yeah, it's,
Oh, man.
Yeah.
What a-
so I'll let you know once the auditors meet with us in the league and how they
Yeah.
can
Good
configure
luck with
it.
that.
I can't imagine we're the only one in that kind of situation.
No, I know others are too, so,
Okay, so we should know by the first meeting in December where we're at
Yes.
with that. Okay, great.
Anything else? Should I jump to transfer station?
Yeah, I think just walking us through it, I don't anticipate making changes.
And-
Just a first look, just a first take.
Okay.
And once we have, and people are saving these, right, from meeting to
Yes.
meeting? So once we have everything.
Right.
And then we
Okay.
see what that bottom line is, then we'll have an opportunity to go back and switch things around.
Okay. So, transfer station's tough, cause I feel like everybody who does this budget considers different line items for different things. So I think like one time they put like the transfer box as dump day, and I look at it as bulky waste box, so I'm like, I don't know if they're two different things, if they have just one, so I think it's like the same money being allocated, just different line items.
And so when there's nothing for general insurance, is that because it's someplace else? It's just under property and casualty?
Yeah,
Because
and-
all the property is
Yeah.
under that? Okay. So nobody will have an insurance cost then, because everybody's under that 14,000?
Yeah, it's, well, for property and casualty.
Yeah. Okay.
Just trying to see. So, and the thing is, I mean, it's up really high, but when you look at it, it's like, it's not really, you know what I mean? Like, it didn't really go up that much.
So when we
But it's
did
just the-
dump day, when we just did dump day,
I haven't even got a bill from them yet.
so so it seems like then what, like, last year you proposed 4,000, but you only spent 15?
No.
Or
we
that was
spent-
a change?
Yeah, 2024, there was $2,500 and nothing was spent.
You know,
Oh, you didn't do
But-
dump day that year?
But bulk waste had 4,800 used, see what I'm saying? So that's why I'm thinking somebody put it in two different, like, they
gotcha.
budgeted it in 80, 390180, but when we got the invoices, it was taken out of 83.
Gotcha.
That's, I think, where the confusion comes. And then 4,000 was budgeted, and I don't have what's actual this year for 2025.
Okay. And so when we do just the bulky waste box, that, we don't do recycling, we just do the metal and we just do trash, right?
They do 3 dumpsters, one's trash, and I think one's,
We do a
we
recycling?
used to do recycling. I think one is recycling.
Okay, so we're just saying everything is under bulky waste?
Yes.
Okay,
That's what I'm considering dump day.
and the metal waste then has a separate,
Yeah,
okay.
and I mean, I don't know if it benefits, they carry these line items over year after year, and half of them aren't even used.
Well, they say you can't delete them, but can you just remove the name to the line and just leave it
Like the code, like the number.
390160, yeah.
Right,
So then if you wanted to
use it.
yeah, because tires, like, we're never taking tires again.
Right,
And we're never budgeting for a bulky waste sticker. I mean,
right.
we're never having permits again. I mean, all these things.
I know, they're from way
Not
back.
operating a
Yeah.
transfer
we're not
station.
taking white goods, and
Yeah.
What is white goods?
refrigerators, stoves,
Appliances.
dryers.
Yeah, we did that one year. and
Yeah, I
it was
remember.
like,
Man, we gotta.
Nobody finds
Oh,
a way
that
of
was-
buying
And then
something.
sometimes
Lots
they
of it.
gotta drain the stuff or whatever's in them, so. Okay, maybe by then we'll have, maybe you could call Casella and ask what our cost was in
Yeah.
October. It doesn't seem like the last couple times a lot of people have
No, this last time I don't think there was a big
brought
number.
stuff, so.
Yeah.
I mean, cause if we have to look at cutting, that might be a good place to,
Yeah.
you know.
And we
cut it.
also could do it once a year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, if people too, so.
Well, I mean, you could still open it and just take leaves or stuff like that, I
Right,
guess,
yeah.
but not take garbage. There's so many other places you can take
Right.
stuff to.
All right,
Okay.
curbside, I bumped that up. Well, actually, I lowered it because it was
Yeah.
less than it was before. So, I don't know, I think. The thing that's hard is, we're contracted with them, and I don't know if it's something to do with them that we need to talk with them when people are, like people who have 2 dumpsters, you know? 2 trash things. And
How do people have that?
they requested them and they got them somehow. And the contract says they can't, but they were, I think they were ordering them at one point for people if they said they needed a second one.
From here?
Yeah, so, you know, I mean, a lot of people just overload and they don't realize even the recycling, the weight and everything, so, and then the fuel charge, that's like really
Yeah.
costly too. And that contract should have never have been, it should have been much lower, like if it ever goes above X, not start, you know, cause it's never gonna go down, the fuel
no,
charges. You know, gas isn't going to dip below $2.30 or something, so.
yeah.
So I can try to get them, like, to just kind of, I'll just try to gauge where we're at currently now too.
Well, so do they send you an invoice that says we delivered 3 trash cans and 2 recycle cans? I mean, does
No.
that? No. So how does that, how are you charged for those then? They just,
They're not, they're just added to
Wait.
the,
well, that's what I'm saying.
oh, we're charged by weight.
Yeah.
But I do remember seeing some kind of contract with them where it specified each household gets 1 of each.
Right,
That's right, the
It
contract.
is in the
They,
contract.
they
Yeah.
got them somehow.
The town clerk office is what, if people call, do you have an extra,
And they
you
would
know,
give-
recycle,
yeah.
tote. They were given a tote,
Well, at
assuming,
one point, the select board said you could have an additional recycle, never trash, only recycle.
but the thing is now, recyclables are more expensive.
Well, sure, at
Yeah.
that time, when
Than
we
the
first
garbage.
started,
Yeah,
we
Yes, that
actually
was a
being
good thing.
paid, yeah,
but the contract says 1 and 1.
yeah.
Every
Yes.
household gets 1 and 1 and that's it.
Yeah,
2 families get 2 and 2.
Maybe that's a conversation you need to have with them, how they're going to correct that on a dump day, on a pickup day.
Oh, well, I mean, the fault is on us, not them.
Yeah,
Yeah, but they also, as we have well seen, people on some streets put out
Oh, I know.
black bags of garbage.
Yep.
Like 5, 6, and
Yep, and they're not supposed to pick those up. And I
Yeah,
think
so-
sometimes they don't.
They don't, because down, by the castle, right across the street, there's been like 8 black bags there for.
I don't know, some
weeks.
places they do.
Right, but I think when someone puts like a garbage dumpster out and puts a black bag next to it, they just pick it up.
Yeah, but these people had they had the garbage pail, but they also had like 6 to 8 bags, they're still there.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
some places they, I think it just depends on.
Depends on the
who's
driver, I
driver.
think.
Yeah,
If you tip the driver.
but I'll double check on those to try to,
Okay, cause that's becoming an astronomical cost, I mean,
and I bumped
So-
up the recycling a little, so that went
I mean-
up from,
you know,
can we just change the percentage on that? It's down, 0.45%, not 4.5. You know, I don't know if the cell in that spreadsheet, you know, has an error in there, but 4.5% on 100,000, that would be $4,500. 218, that's almost $10,000, and we're only down by 1,000, 219 to 218,000. So that $1,000 is 0.45%.
I know, but like I said, like even, like, the other one that was down, like up 3,400 is up 17.5%.
Yeah, that one's right. The 17.5 on the top, that's correct. But
All right.
when you look at, the garbage, it's only down by 1,000. 1% of 100,000 is $1,000.
Right.
And we're talking 219,000, so that would be almost $10,000.
Right.
If it were 4.5%.
Yeah.
It's not, it's only 1,000, so it should be 0.45.
Okay.
I was just saying that the cell in that spreadsheet.
Right.
have a hit,
Right,
so
okay. No, I'll do,
It's not down 4.5%.
Okay.
all right, now we're into highway.
So are we to understand then direct labor has no raises then, right?
No, the direct labor is including a raise, and it's including, the reason it's so much lower
Yeah.
is because the budget before had part of water, sewer,
Yeah.
Oh, and so,
and you also had we had like three full-time,
yeah,
now we're down to one.
yeah, but the person you hired isn't full-time?
Yeah, he's included in this.
And then Kyle's full-time,
Correct.
and then you took the two water and sewer guys out of this?
Yes,
So.
I did that last year.
Yeah, but last year it's out.
Yeah, because we had three people working. in
Gotcha.
Public Works. And they were making higher wages.
Okay, all right.
One of the other ones.
Yep, yep.
But this is the what, so my intent was to, rather than do like a 3% across the board raise,
Yep.
of bumping everybody up $3,000 using ARPA funds.
Okay. So, and maybe some of this might be executive session. Okay. Yeah.
All right, let's see what else here. Labor, overtime. And insurance is hard too, because I included the new person
Yep.
on as, possibly a single, and then we have a family, so, that's the hardest part, I think, is not knowing who's gonna be in these roles in 2026, and if no one has insurance, the budget's zero, and you hired 3 people and they all have a family,
Yeah.
then the insurance goes way up, so I try to make it so I figure like a family maybe in a single, if like there's no one, then a family in a single, just to get a rough estimate of,
So what is this, a family and a single then?
Yes.
36?
yes.
What percentage is taken care of with the insurance for the employee?
80,
80% is paid, they pay 20% of their insurance?
and they get their, and then they have, we don't have, dental through this insurance company, so they get a dental plan.
That we pay for?
They pay.
I was gonna say, Jesus.
I'd like to pay for it, I would love to be able to do that.
But that's pretty unusual, that any place pays for dental.
Everywhere I work, I've always got dental insurance, and it's not costly, that's the thing.
Well,
Dental's a lot cheaper.
it's the same as if you have a family or single, so it's a perk I get, but even at the schools, I mean,
Yeah, I don't know, I'm just always,
so,
And even, I'm not saying that, 80% is pretty high, considering what,
and you can change that, it can be changed, it doesn't have to be 80-20.
I'm just saying that.
It is exceptionally high,
That's pretty high.
yeah, it is.
But the whole idea is you want to retain the employees you have. So you want to, part of the thing is not only compensation, but the benefits as well. And you start taking those away and go somewhere else where you get a better deal, then you lose good employees.
Oh, I understand that, but again, I think comparable with other businesses, 80% is very high, you know.
That's average. I would say it's definitely average.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Who's paying the 80%?
The
We are.
town.
The
We
town.
yeah.
Yeah, that's not,
You're saying that's high?
I think that's very high.
You're saying the employee should pay more?
Well, I'm just saying that,
a lot of places it's 70/30. That's more common.
a lot of places is much, much lower. Not saying whether it's, that should be done, it's just 80% is almost unheard of unless it's specific, you know, whether it's, you know, the highway department or whatever. I don't know,
Right.
you know, comparable to other towns, what other people do.
I think in municipalities it's pretty common. Yeah.
All right, and retirement, so you're budgeting for what, 2 people in retirement?
Yes.
So once you're hired, you become invested in, how long does that take you?
5 years?
So they have to work here 5 years to be invested.
Be
So,
invested 100% or just a percent?
No, so we put money in at the start, they put money in. If they're not here 5 years, they get their money, they don't get what we put in.
Right.
You have to stay 5 years to get what we put in as well.
It's a certain percent every year before they're 100% vested. You're saying it's 5 years that are 100% vested.
And that's gone up this year, VEMR's, the employer has to pay 7.25% of their salary into their retirement. So it's gone up from last year.
That's mandatory?
For the plan that we're in.
That's good then.
It is good. Operating supplies, I bumped up just based on what we've sold now. And again, I said, I think a lot of these things, the line items are so
Yeah.
confusing, like, you know, when they go out and buy weed whacker, is that, you know, or buy like batteries, is that operating expenses, is that small equipment, you know, so it's kind of when they get coded, it might deplete one account more than another, but I still bumped it up because of different things. And the diesel, I lowered because when I looked at the consumption, the greatest consumption is Public Works, but they don't pay the full boat. So what we do is when we get the bills in for diesel, Kyle calculates how many gallons were used by each department, and then I have to take a percentage of that times the total, and that's what I charge against each department. So it's Public Works, it's water, it's wastewater, and it's fire. So the total bill is broken up between those 4 departments.
That's metered out of one tank.
Yeah, the tanks are down at the garage. Everything's kind of gone up just because of different things. The one,
well, small tools took quite the jump.
yeah, I know, we were talking about that. And that could be because we did some, leaf blower packs that we needed. So it's kind of small equipment, but it's not that small. I mean, they're pricey, so. And
So did we buy those or we're buying them?
we bought those.
But this is a jump from 2 to 6 for 26.
Oh, I'm going off I'm saying what we bought at fiscal 24. The 5,600?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then last year, You budgeted 2.
Yeah.
And this year you're budgeting 6.
Right, and I'm basing that off of what we spent this year for fiscal '24.
We lost fiscal year 25. We're in fiscal year 25 right now, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And we're looking at what we're gonna do in 26.
Six.
Now, 26 isn't based on what we did in 25?
well, we don't know what we did in '25 yet.
Okay, so that,
Yeah.
okay, just, we're skipping over. I was wondering what we're coming up with, okay.
I mean, we could do a happy medium and say, what did we spend then?
No, I mean, we can always come back to it, the line item doesn't make sense to me. That it was 25 and it decreased, and now it's jumped 4,000, that's all I'm saying.
Well, that's probably because it was misbudgeted last year, would be my guess. I mean, I could see what we've spent so far in
Sure.
that column. And then the equipment fund, that, remember we put money last year, we took it out of the paving and we put it into this fund?
Yeah, and that's what's gonna come up with that ARPA again, it's gonna confuse me, and that's what we did last year. We took the paving money, put it into the equipment fund, and then the $150,000 in the paving, we said that was coming from ARPA.
Correct.
And then later on in the year, we decided we were gonna do the Florence Road. You know, again, it's good usage of that money for our infrastructure. So we took that 230 or 50,000, whatever it was, and put it in towards paving. So that's a big number in the current fiscal year
Right,
for paving.
Right.
You know, it wasn't 24,
right,
Yeah,
it was in this current fiscal year that we're using the ARPA.
right, right.
And so now we're going back to what it was before we transferred the paving funds into it.
And, the equipment fund now, they wanna see that bumped up, kept to where it used to be, cause, I mean, I don't know if we could put more than 20,000, but their loader's like really in bad shape and stuff like that, so they kinda wanna try to,
yeah, be ready for that
Yeah.
replacement, yeah.
Well, maybe you can provide that what's in there for the next
If they
meeting.
could give us, right, that number to replace that loader and then what is currently in the fund, so we could see, you know, how much we
Yep.
have to allocate over how many years to get the place we need to be to make that purchase.
Right, and there used to be, years ago, there used to be a schedule, like how you were replacing things. I don't think there's been one for a number of years, so it might be nice to see something like that. So you anticipate replacing the loader in 3 years, in 5 years, you anticipate,
The backhoe.
whatever.
Because he was, last year, Kyle was here saying that the backhoe may need to be replaced.
maybe that's what I'm saying, and I probably said loader instead of back.
Well, whatever it is, but maybe
Yeah.
creating that might be
Right.
it.
And the Marble Bridge Fund, for some reason, I feel like it was fiscal '24 was 0, not 1,000. I don't think we've ever spent anything on it.
We always put 1,000 in.
But I don't think we spent anything yet. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but it should be a sinking fund that accrues.
Right, but
Yeah.
it shows 1,000 out of fiscal '24, and I think
means
that's an
that-
error. I think it's a 0.
Well, you have to show that it was allocated to the sinking fund. That's what it means.
Oh, I don't think we do that.
Yeah, 100%. That's what, you budgeted it, and then you have to show that you moved it. She moves sinking funds at the end of, usually after a town meeting like that. So, that's why, like, social service agencies that we vote on, you get paid quarterly, different things. But some things like that, she moves to sinking funds just one time. But that's how you show the allocation. It'll show that in the sinking fund in the book.
Small tools, equipment and repair, I kind of lowered it. We did spend a lot in fiscal '24, but I put it at 3,000. The mowing contract is 0 because the mowing that we contract out is under the Riverside budget. Highway repairs,
Well, this wasn't for Riverside anyway. This is when they were paying the,
Right, I know that, that's what I
Yeah.
mean, that's why there's nothing in, I didn't want people to think we contract
Yeah.
with a mower and why isn't it in here? And the highway repairs, I put to 10,000.
What are highway repairs?
It's usually when they do like the coal pack and
Patch and-
stuff,
Yeah.
yeah, around town, patchwork. Let's see, highway improvements, 65,000. I bumped it up to 85. That's paving.
And I was just gonna say, that again is ARPA funds right there, and that's fiscal year 25. And we use, you know, the cost of the Florence Road for that. So that's why when I look at fiscal year 24, the 340,000, you know, I don't know where that number came from, but that doesn't matter because
That
we're
was when they
talking about
did
this
West,
year,
they went West Street.
Street,
but- Oh, okay,
yeah.
okay.
The next one, sand, salt, plow blades, I moved to 55,000. Mostly because, I mean, we'll still have, we're good with sand right now, but we will need it down the road. But this, for the salt, and then the blades we kind of did last year, we allocated a lot of money for that, so. Tree removal, I lowered the budget to 8,000.
Albert,
And I was just gonna ask, you know, in the town manager's report, you talked about the tree removal that's currently going on.
Uh-huh.
This would be including anything that's over and above what was done in your town manager's report, because your town manager's report said 40,
Yeah, this is for fiscal year 26.
no, but in here for 25, so it shows you spent 10, you budgeted
10, yeah. So we'll be under budget.
Just wondering whether we ought to put something in for the salt shed, you know?
But,
Oh, you know, not a big amount, but, you know, there might be, I think sometime down the road, we might wanna put doors on that or something.
oh, you mean under maintenance, like?
Yeah,
I mean, you're gonna have to create a sinking fund to carry it.
yeah, that's what I mean. Whether we ought to start a small one, just to,
All right. Signs, I kept at 3,000. Signs are really expensive.
yes, yeah.
We did add them to, North Street on the opposite side,
Yeah.
and,
Pat Street, we got some signs,
yep,
slow children.
yeah. Let's see, again, insurance. General insurance here. Nothing else much is really changed, that, you know, it's gone up higher in that part. Actually, that's weird, because it didn't print out the, percentage. That one was actually down, that budget, the highway one. Highway building. That one's up, primarily, cause heat. Wood has gone up in price, so they're paying a lot more for that. Electricity, I'm hoping the telephones go down once they're fully installed.
Can I go back to this CDL program?
Yep,
Would that be needed for this new employee or any additional employees?
it was never, nothing was ever paid out of it before. I don't know if they just created it as a potential line item and never put money in. The gentleman that's starting said that he was planning on getting his CDL anyway. His family has a business and they would like him to have it, so I don't know if he's just gonna,
We would leave it up to the employee to pay
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah. yeah, at this point, I mean, unless the board decides otherwise, but, I mean, he's fine this year anyway, you know, with what we have for him to do and stuff, and all the work that he's capable of doing, that he can do it without the CDL.
Yeah, I didn't know how that worked.
Seeing how we're on that page, can I just ask one more question on that paving, the 85,000? That's based on historical data. That's not necessarily identifying the needs that the town might have in
It's
26.
Yeah,
Okay.
they usually have plans on what streets they'll do next, but, we gotta get together, because some of the streets they did a couple years ago are on a list that were never done. But it's based on what we've spent on paving,
Yeah,
and then the increase,
so the actual might be different
yeah.
than that.
Oh, yeah, the actual paving is gonna be a lot.
And I think somewhere down the road, we're gonna have to probably change the heating system in the garage. That
I
was
know.
a big thing with me way back when we
Yeah,
went to wood and,
they said that, I mean, they did that whole, assessment and everything, on, you know, getting heat pumps in there, possibly a new furnace, stuff like that. But again, that's gonna be a
a major,
costly.
yeah.
And I mean, I don't think they mind the wood, except when you go in the winter and it's like 20 below zero and you gotta get it
Yes,
going.
you
By
gotta
the
get
time
it.
it gets going, it's time to leave, so it's
You know,
kinda,
years ago, we always had somebody that went down to the garage and
right,
put wood
stoke
in
it,
at
yeah,
night and what have you, and,
yeah,
you know,
I know.
that's not gonna happen
It's a big open
anymore.
space, so,
Heating, isn't there, are there any incentives out there to take care of?
there might be some grants for, you know, projects like that, yeah, for
It's not
public works.
residential, but
No, but sometimes for like public works and stuff, yeah.
But doesn't that building need
Improvement.
substantial work before you're, I mean, it's difficult to justify putting a new heating system in a building that we've heard for years has so many problems.
Right.
I mean, for me, it would be difficult to,
Well, they may require that too, though. If somebody would, you want a grant of some kind, somebody to come in and look, they may require that be taken care of.
Yeah.
Or they would contract to do
Right.
that before they would give you a discount.
Right.
Monies towards something. like
Yeah.
That MRF audit, did that identify all the needs of the building, or did that just look at heating systems?
No, it identifies everything. I can share it with you guys, it's 97 pages.
Not much work, huh?
Yeah,
I'll just give it to you, Albert, you can redline it.
No.
Well, it's funny because the same one they did for this building was also like 95 pages.
it seems like the big thing is we just want you to put in heat pumps.
Right.
Depending on the building, heat pumps are not so spectacular.
Right. But the good thing about that was that it can justify getting grants, because you actually did the analysis and the
Yeah.
assessment first, so, and identified the needs, so. Yeah, so the three big things for grants, I think, that we're looking for is like highway, improvements of that building and even this building, so, with windows.
yeah.
Let's see. So the garage building fund, we got bids on that this year to do paving. It needs to be paved all around the garage, out back and stuff.
Yeah.
So we did get a bid, and we were looking to do it this year, but then they got nervous, the paving company, because of the weather, and didn't want to do it if it was too cold. So
Yeah.
we're gonna wait till spring, so. We'll use that fund for that. Anybody have any questions, comments, advice?
No, but I think I agree with the mobile, I think Lisa brought it up there, mobile equipment, or maybe use.
What, what?
A schedule for mobile equipment, I say mobile equipment.
Replacement schedule.
Replacement schedule?
Replacement.
Yep,
Yeah, so you know, even 3 or 4 years out, what to expect.
right.
And then I guess I'll just like, under equipment rentals, we went from 500 to 3,000. What we're anticipating, what that, I mean, is that like when we pay Pittsburgh to do roadside?
Yep, that's why I did it, because
Okay.
the other option, if we didn't, is we would rent equipment to do it ourselves.
No, I'm fine. I mean, and I don't think we have to own every piece of equipment, because then you just have to maintain it. And
Right.
So I'm fine with that, but I just wanted to make sure. I thought that's what it might be, but, okay. All right. So do we think like at the second meeting in December, we're going to be looking to finalize the
I
budget?
would like to.
Okay.
And the next ones are like the two big, it's like rink, pool, and then, you know, some small ones too, but I figured we could, if we keep the agenda pretty clean and just put that on there to kind of push through those, just to get them done, so.
Right, so like, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, at the last December meeting, unless there's anything dire, I think we could just talk about the budget, because we'll have some idea about the ARPA. We wanna talk about raises, so there'll be some personnel, executive session.
Yeah.
So if we could just kinda stay focused on that, I think that would be,
Okay. And if there's anything you think of on the budgets that we've gone through, that where you feel could be, you know, that are probably more primary to bump up, and those that we could just really cut, just let me know, because then I can like highlight those when we do the final budget,
yeah.
and we can talk about
Well, I think we
those.
should, like, at the next meeting, cause you've got the big budget, we didn't get the fire department
No,
budget.
I'm waiting, I sent them theirs.
And the fire department.
That's why I said the fire. So like this budget and the other ones we have, if you go through and there are things that you see changes, if you could just share that with Judy, so then we could have that for the last meeting in December.
So the first meeting in December, we would finish the reviewing the departments we haven't reviewed, or,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, and I think at that meeting, even at that meeting, I think it would be appropriate to have an executive session to talk about personnel, salaries, and things like that. So that could be plugged in for
Yeah.
for that next meeting in December, rather than waiting.
Yeah,
I think it's better to plug it in so you can see what the bottom line is, right? And then at that last meeting, that's where you can make your changes.
and then like the numbers I threw out tonight for like Public Works weren't like budget numbers, they're just scenarios of looking at it two different ways.
Yeah. And then the ARPA clarification, we will know what that is, and the
Yeah.
impact it will have
Yeah.
on our
Yeah.
budgets.
Yep,
Between the auditors and
Yeah.
VLCT, we'll have some,
Okay.
All right. Anything else? Motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
uh,
Thank you very much.